Well, lately I've been sharing some of the worst things about living in Utah or Salt Lake City. So today's video, I wanted to share with you some of the best things about living in Utah. So I'm going to share with you the 10 best things about living in Utah, and I'm getting after it right now. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Greg Spackman. I'm with the Living in Salt Lake City channel. If you want to learn everything about what it's like to live here, eat here, sleep here, play here, in the great state of Utah, then click the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I do new videos. Lately, I've been getting a ton of people that are just like you that are reaching out to me, calling me, texting me, emailing me about what it's like to live in Utah from someone that's not from Utah. Well, if that's you, reach out and let's get into the 10 best things about living in Utah right now. So, number 10 on the list is something that you probably would have guessed, and that's probably one of the reasons that's attracting you to Utah. It definitely is one of the things that attracted us when we made the move here to Utah, and that's the outdoors. So, you probably would have guessed this one, absolutely. But winter sports here, which is what time of year it is right now, we have the best snow on earth. So if you have never skied or snowboarded here in Utah, you are in for a treat. There's tons of tubing, sledding, everything that you can do in the snow, you get to do here, from snowmobiling as well. We have 14 world-class ski resorts here in the state of Utah, all the way from the northern part of Utah down to pretty much St. George. So a ton of different ski resorts that you can pick from. A few of them won't allow you to snowboard, but most of them will allow you to snowboard and ski. In the summertime, we have some of the greatest summer sports you can do here, from hiking, camping, rock climbing. You can even hang glide and parasail in one of the best places in the world to do that. We have water sports you get to do, like boating, fishing, fly fishing, canoeing, paddleboarding. Paddleboarding is one of our favorite things to go do. We go to a couple different reservoirs. Deer Creek would be one of our favorite reservoirs to go to, and that's amazing. Super cool place to go if you want a neat place to go. You can kayak. This reminds me, when we first moved here, that my daughter wanted to tube down one of the rivers. So we tubed down the Provo River, and it was awesome. Super cool thing to do. It takes you about 2.5, 3 hours to float tube down the river, and you kind of show up there. You buy your ticket online, and then you show up there, and then you wait to get on your bus, and then they bus you up to the top, and then you get out, and then you grab a tube, and you just get in the water and float down the water. So that is something that's amazing. I highly recommend that you do that. Super mellow and relaxing, and you just get to see everything. The only negative thing about floating down the river was some of the fly fishermen seemed to not be so happy with us floating by. But how would you be upset when you knew that people were going to be float tubing down the river? So it just didn't make a lot of sense. But there are so many things that you get to do in the outdoors. Our only negative is that we don't have the ocean. And so you're going to have to drive 10 or 11 hours to get to an ocean to do those sports. But everything else you get to do here in Utah without humidity. The number 9 best thing about living here in Utah, and that's that we have all 4 seasons. So coming from California, where they didn't have all the seasons, here we have everything from a true summer where it gets nice and warm, up to the typical summer will be in the 90s up to about 107-ish or so. I don't think we hit into the 110s really, but we may have. In the fall time, we have great fall weather. It just is what you would expect for fall. Changing of the leaves is really, really nice. Sometimes we get a light dusting of snow in October, but typically that comes later. And then wintertime, we get a true winter. We typically get snow every year here. Last year was a massive amount of snow. This year, not so much. I don't know, maybe had a foot or two of snow at most where we live. And right now there's no snow at all. So, other than what's on the mountains, I did go snowboarding a couple weeks ago with a friend that came out to visit. Super fun. I don't know if I would snowboard again after how many times I fell. I would probably just go back to skiing, but I had to try it. So that's cool. You have a real spring as well once we get into that. And that's something I'm really looking forward to this year again, because it gets warmer weathers and means I can start doing my outdoor activities that I like to go do. I can take my Jeep out in the wintertime in the snow, which is fun, but it's more fun, I think, just going in the dirt, since I can climb over rocks and everything else. and then that'll push into summer. So we get all 4 seasons, which is super, super nice. They have different areas of Utah. It doesn't get as cold typically down in the St. George area and Hurricane, but it does get a little warmer than it does up here. So that's a trade off. In the Salt Lake City area, it's warm, but it's not as hot, and they get colder winters and snow. And then northern Utah, it's even colder, and you get even more snow. And then Moab is kind of its own little thing. They get snow and they get colder weather, but not as cold as we get here in the Salt Lake City area. So really, it's just going to depend upon what area of Utah, what weather you're liking. And that's one of the things we definitely talk to you about when you reach out to us. The number 8 best thing about living in Utah is that Utah is a conservative state. It is a red state. However, it does lean a little bit more libertarian than other states do, but based on what I've read and everything else, it is a really good state. So that's awesome. You have pretty relaxed gun laws here in Utah, so if that's a thing for you, but it just is a great place as far as if you are conservative. If you're not, then you probably want to live closer to Salt Lake City or potentially Moab, just based on that, the demographics. However, St. George is moving more and more towards a 50-50 split, but it's still a little bit higher than that. In the Salt Lake County area is 50-50 pretty much. So that's going to be your most diverse area as far as political speaking. It gets a little bit more conservative if you are in Utah County and then other counties. The further away you get from Salt Lake City, the more conservative that it gets. And that can be a pro or a con for you depending upon which way you lean. But people here really don't seem to ask you what your political affiliation is. And really the only way you'd know what your neighbor is if they have a sign in the yard, who they support for president, which, if you don't want people to know, then people don't need to know who you support. The number 7 best thing about living here in Utah is we have lots of new construction homes. So if you want to build your own home or have us help you, which is the best way to do it, we can help you pick the right builder, pick the location, and then go through the build process with you. We really like going to the design center appointment with you so we can help offer a little guidance and then just take notes on that process. So later in the build process, they don't tell you that, you picked this or that option or this color and that color. We have all that in notes and everything. So it makes it really, really nice when when they screw up and we're able to help you with that. But just the availability of new construction homes and a wide range of pricing, you can get anywhere from a $500,000 home, new construction, all the way up into a, $45 million home up in Park City. So really it just depends on what your budget is and what type of home you're looking for. And we definitely talk to you all about that when we're helping you move here. The number 6 best thing about living in Utah is the taxes. So while Utah is not considered like the best state in the nation as far as taxes go, but we are a moderate friendly, tax friendly state. I'm not sure how it ranks as moderately, but it does. Income and corporate tax is a flat 4.65%. Used to be 4.85%. So we're working on the right way going down as far as that goes. Just know that you're going to be taxed on your Social Security income and any sort of tax stuff. You're really going to want to talk to a CPA. So if you need a CPA, we can definitely give you one that's to talk to, or you can just Google that as well so that you get all your tax ramifications. Googling can help you in some ways with that, but really you want to talk to a CPA if taxes are important to you. The number 5 best thing about living here in Utah is your mountain views and the red rocks that you're going to see. So we have some of the best views of mountains, I think, anywhere that I've ever been. I've lived all over the U.S. in like 7 different states. I can't think of a better place. However, I haven't been to Montana, so I don't know how that relates as far as mountain views, but it's incredible here just outside my front door. It's awesome. Every day when I have to drive Chase to school, I get to see the mountain views, and they are awesome. Right now, they are all covered in snow, so it looks super cool with all the snow. And then that'll be gone around April or May, and then I get to look at a completely different view of the mountains. And I have mountains to the east, which are the Wasatch Mountains that I get to look at. And then to the west, I get to see like the copper mine. And that's super cool. You can also take a trail up to the top of where the copper mine is called the Overlook. And we do that once or twice a year where we'll drive up there. You don't necessarily need a 4-wheel drive to get up there, but I recommend some sort of all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive or something that can go on some bumpy roads. It's kind of like a dirt road that's a little bit bumpy, so it's fun for me to take the doors and the top off the Jeep and drive up to the top, and then we just hang out and watch the sunset and look out over Salt Lake County. It's awesome. So the Red Rocks are even cooler to see, and there's some really cool places you can go, and I'll touch on that on one of my other best things about living in Utah. The number 4 best thing about living in Utah, and this is something that we were doing a little bit of research when we moved here because Megan was going to go to college here. She ended up graduating from UVU with a culinary degree, and she was going to go to the University of Utah, but decided to get a culinary degree instead. But we have really, really good colleges here actually in Utah. University of Utah, Utah Valley University, we have Utah State, we have Weber State, we have BYU, we have Southern Utah University, we have Utah Tech, and there's a bunch more. We also have the second best rated community college in the nation, and that's the Salt Lake Community College, or SLCC, that you'll see when you're around here. So if you're going to be going to community college, know that that's cool. They have a new one that's opening in Harriman that you're going to be able to go to, so it'll be interesting to see what classes they offer since it'll be super close for me. The third best thing about living here in Utah is our national parks. We have 5 of them. So California has more than us, but we have 5 national parks. We have Bryce Canyon, we have Capitol Reef, we have Zion National Park, Arches National Park, and Canyonlands. So those are all amazing, great places for you to go. There's also this Goblin Valley place that I really want to go to, and we're going to definitely make it happen this spring. We're going to hit at least one of the national parks and Goblin Valley. We keep putting it off, and we really just need to make the drive and do it. There's also some other cool places that you can explore out in the desert for things to see, but it's awesome here for the national parks, and you definitely should take advantage of that. Even if you don't live here, you should travel to Utah and go to the national parks. The second best thing about living here in Utah is our job opportunities. We have lots of different jobs that you're going to be able to get in different areas of where you live. So it really just depends on which part of Utah you're going to be going. But if you are wanting like a tech job, then there's an area in Lehi called Silicon Slopes. Healthcare is huge here. Finance is big here. Outdoor recreation. So if you want to be like a trail guide or, do your own hiking things, if you want to set up a gym, there's lots of different things that you're going to be able to do here. Utah has an unemployment ranking here, typically right around 2.5%. It's usually in the top 5, top 7 states in the nation as far as low unemployment rate. So you're going to definitely be able to get a job here in a lot of different sectors. Just depends on what you want to be in. And so that's why that's number 2. So that leads us to the best thing about living in Utah, and that's that our team is here to help you make that move. So if you're considering moving to Utah and you want to find out more information about what it's like actually living in the great state of Utah, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Let's get you started on your move here to Utah. So until next time, be rad.